I'm talking today with Marc Fisher, our new Vice Chancellor for Administration here at UC Berkeley. Hi, Marc.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me today to share your leadership story.
Great.
So can we start with a quick synopsis of your career path, how long you've been at the University of California?
Yep, sure. That's a great question. I'm 22 years at the University of California. I spent 7 years at UCLA as Director of Design and then Campus Architect. And following that, I have 15 years at UC Santa Barbara, where I had a series of different roles from the Associate Vice Chancellor for Campus Design and Facilities to the Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Campus Design and Facilities, plus some other things, and then the Vice Chancellor role there. And the last 3 years in Santa Barbara were spent in the Vice Chancellor's role. And I've been extremely fortunate to go from being a part-time employee in 1995 to a full-time employee in 1996 after my wife had a Fulbright in Latvia. And we came home, we were broke, frankly. And the university offered me a full-time job, and I said, that's a great offer, I'll take it. And I didn't think I would stay in the university more than 2 years, but 22 years later, I'm still here.
A lot of people have stories like that.
Great
So do you feel like your jobs have led you to this position?
Absolutely. I mean, as I've moved through my career, I've had more and more responsibility, and the portfolio certainly kept growing and shifting over time. And most of the pieces that I have here are similar to pieces in Santa Barbara. They are more complicated and bigger, obviously. The campus is just a bigger campus. So not so much land-wise, but population. It's a bigger population than almost double in the Santa Barbara campus. Yeah.
So what defining moments have occurred in your life or your career, and how have they shaped you?
Defining moments. Well, my career trajectory was not one I would have predicted. Let's start there. So, I finished architecture school, and I thought I'd be an architect and maybe someday a principal in a firm or have my own firm. So I think the first thing that happened, probably that moved me into this career, was I worked on a master plan for UCLA in 1987, worked for an architect in LA. I was the lead designer on that project. My wife was the project manager on the project. There's that's an interesting connection and story. And the exposure to UCLA, I fell in love with it and decided that doing campus planning, campus design at the master plan level was extremely exciting and interesting, and was able to do that project. And then I followed that with a couple of other campus master plans, working for a landscape architect in LA, and also we were the lead designers on the Getty Center project landscape. I have 2 degrees, landscape architecture and architecture. And we, just kept leading me back to higher education and institutional projects and kind of an institutional perspective. And then when UCLA offered me a position, I moved into this world. And it's just been a very logical progression in a way, but not one that was predictable from where I started. And I feel like I've been extremely fortunate to have been exposed to incredible leadership, both in Los Angeles and then at Santa Barbara and now at Berkeley, and just very fortunate to be able to grow my career in the UC as I've been able to.
Nice. So as you look back, what core beliefs have guided your choices and your actions?
That's a great question too. So core beliefs. I think I'll start with the fact that each of the campuses is very different. They each have their own personality, their own culture. I've likened it, now that I'm at the 3rd UC campus, to a family where genetically we're all connected, but we're all different. So if you have a family with 3 children, or 5 or 10 children, they will be different from each other, and yet they come from the same genetic background. And I think that's really important to recognize in the UC, that we're like a big family. There are a lot of common issues or beliefs or values in the UC, obviously. And then each campus does have very strong differences that I think are important to recognize, and to be very thoughtful about how you move from one to the other if you do, and what that means in terms of how you work in these places. Beyond that, I'm a strong supporter for career trajectories for those around me. A lot of belief that staff is incredibly valuable and can be sometimes underappreciated. One of my core beliefs is that we need to spend time and honor our employees and also make sure they know how much we value them, and remember to thank them, and to realize that you can't do what we're doing without a really great team surrounding you. Also, I think of myself as a member of the staff, not as an administrator. Maybe that's a personality flaw, but I've always thought myself as a staff person. So when we talk about staff issues, I always think of myself as part of that team or that staff that helps helps run the campus. We're, as an integral part of higher education and how campuses are organized and managed.
So do you think that point of view helps you to stay more humble or stay more connected to what's happening on the ground of this place?
Absolutely. Okay. I think it's really important. I've learned this from some really great people. Really
so Mark, what does it mean to you to be a leader?
What does it mean to be a leader? That's a good question too. I think for me, it's a lot about how can we get things done, first of all. I like to have progress and a product. I'm not just a process person. I like to see at the end of the day that we've made some change for the better in the institution or the campus or the organization. So that's really important to me as a leader. Also, that I have a good team around me and that I have a lot of respect for them, and making sure that I'm supporting them as I need to. That it can't work well unless the folks on the campus and in the team feel respected and feel supported in their work, and that's a really key part of my role here, I believe.
Okay. So you've said that you have found an administrative role to be both exciting and challenging. Mm-hmm. What are you finding to be the most exciting and the most challenging aspects of your current role so far in the 2 months you've been here?
Yeah. It's a great campus. I mean, really walking this campus, it just, feels really good. And there's a kind of magic in the place that is hard to quantify, but it is a very, very special campus. And that is probably the kind of most exciting portion of it for me. Plus there are challenges in it, and challenges, it plays both ways, but the challenges are also very exciting. What are the challenges? I would say, the financial situation is challenging. Still trying to really understand exactly what the financial situation is and how it impacts our division. I think that will, be a big part of the challenge for this coming year for me, is really wrapping my head around that and making sure that we are, fitting into the budget model that's being established on the campus, and becoming a really key component of that. In terms of other challenges, obviously areas like the Campus Shared Services Center is has an interesting set of challenges in it. I think there are a lot of great people in that organization doing good work. I think we just have to make sure the campus has the sense of that, and whatever we can do to fine-tune the organization to better fit the campus. I think this is one of the great challenges, opportunities, and there is excitement in that just because it is a challenge. Mm-hmm. So, thank you. I don't like to be bored. So for me, all of this is good, and the complexity in it is also good. And I like the complicated nature of this particular job.
I can't imagine you ever being bored in this role.
Maybe in 10 years or so I will be. Took 15 in Santa Barbara. I started to get a little bit bored at the very end.
So you've said it's important to understand the culture of the individual campus and its community. How are you going about trying to understand our culture and how staff are impacted by it?
Well, first of all, I've been trying to meet with as many people as I possibly can. I've tried to get to all the different pieces in the division, make a tour of the operations, make sure I have a sense, and it's pretty far-flung, this particular organization. I'm working on a process whereby we have regular contact with all of my direct reports. It's a pretty big group of direct reports, and we're still sort of fine-tuning how that works. And we'll start to go beyond individual meetings to group meetings, where we start to build a culture around the division. At the same time, I'm meeting with the deans, There are a lot of deans on the campus, and I'm still working through that list. And I've learned a lot from the deans. They all have different impressions of what's important on the campus. There's some common themes, but it's more varied than I would have thought, and that's been very interesting and exciting to see what they're dealing with in their organizations. So those are probably the two most important things so far, and then with the student population, especially around areas of endeavor like sustainability, really getting a sense of what they're interested in as students, and trying to make sure that we're open and have a really strong dialogue with them. We've met with the graduate student leadership and the undergraduate student leadership, GSA and ASUC, it's slightly different titles than I'm used to. And I think that's really beneficial to have a very strong line of communication with everybody on the campus that we can. I've also met with ABOG, staff assembly, trying to just make as many points of contact as possible. Again, just to knowing similarities between organizations, but also where the differences are between the two campuses. It's been busy.
And in particular, because our audience is targeted to Berkeley staff, how are you trying to get to know the staff and the issues that are of real concern to them?
Again, just trying to get out and meet people. And so we've been to a couple of ice cream socials for facility services. I've been to HR and walked through and met the entire HR staff. Forgive me if I don't remember all the names. I'll work on that. I don't think I'll ever know all the names, but I'll try. And if I don't remember a name, please remind me. We've been out to the Richmond Yard and met with the folks out there that deal with what I call deaccessioning and the bindery. I think that is a really great group of people doing absolutely beautiful work, and so nice to meet and see them. I've been down to CSS. We'll certainly be down there for various holiday events over the next 2 weeks, so we'll try to make as many points of contact within the division as we can. I've met with the folks in purchasing. I've met with the team in IS&T. I'm trying to think if there may be a couple areas we haven't gotten to yet, but we've really been trying to get out and meet everyone that we possibly can, and just get a better sense again of what the division is shaped like, where we are, and again, we're between 4th Street and the Richmond Yard, and here at the edge of Oxford, we're in a lot of different areas. It's pretty far-flung.
You've gotten out quite a bit in your first 2
It's pretty
months.
busy, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And there's a lot more to do.
So what have been the biggest lessons learned for you in your life?
Biggest lessons learned in my life. Ooh, that's a great question too. Probably that you can't predict where you will end up. That you have a sort of sense of where you're going, and life will present to you opportunities that will take you in different directions. And been very fortunate to have taken some of those opportunities. Some I didn't, but I've been fortunate in the ones I did take that they worked out really well for me. And probably a good thing for others to think about is when opportunities present themselves, at least consider them and see where they might take you.
So that sounds like good advice that you would give a new young staff person.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell this to all the younger staff people on the campus. This is a great place to work. As you're looking at your career, especially the long trajectory, staying in the UC is very wise. And I think it's just full of opportunity. And if anyone ever has a question about that, come and talk to me, because I'm a real cheerleader for what this institution means, the quality, opportunity, just everything about it. It's a really great place to work.
So Mark, what are you most grateful for in that season of the year?
I think all the opportunities I've had. Plus, I have a great family. I have a great family here, my wife, and I have a son, Grant and Chris. Chris and I have been married for 26 years in February, and so it's a good thing for someone to remember. And I have a 15-year-old who's in high school here, and obviously very grateful for them. And then I'm very lucky that I have parents who are relatively young, and they're on the East Coast, and they're healthy, And we had the opportunity to spend time with them, and I'm really grateful for that. And then my wife's family's great, and they're in Southern California, so we get to see them also frequently. So I'm grateful for all of that. You know, it's been good, and you know, I've had a great career, frankly.
Nice.
An unpredicted career, but a great career.
So, Marcus, is there anything else you'd like to share with our Wisdom Cafe audience?
Boy, I think just, you know, a reminder that one, I do appreciate everything that people are doing on the campus. Again, it is a really good place to work. I think we'll make sure it's an even better place to work, or try to. I will have failed if we haven't made it an even better place to work. And you know, never hesitate to contact me if there's something that you see as an issue or you'd like to talk about. Please don't hesitate. You know, I can be available. I try to answer emails as quickly as possible, and so if there's something that comes up and you think, gee, I'd like to talk to that guy about it, then by all means do. Do me a favor. Do not go to the VCA email address. It takes a little longer to get to me. Just use my address, which is Marc Fisher, MarcFisher, @berkeley.edu. It's really easy.
Great.
You can find me easily. Come and find me.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah.
Today.
This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.